Jason, do you know how the show starts?
I don't. No, I started
Okay, so that makes
listening
three
to
of us then.
Baze. Okay.
Chat, does chat know how the show starts?
Frost said it starts now.
It starts now? Yeah, but Frost also said that I'm 8% Canadian, and that I still don't think that makes sense.
No, that's about right.
I'm still pretty sure that makes no sense, but
It's a
Do you guys
first.
need me to tell you how the show starts?
Yeah. Actually, yeah.
I think you could probably summon the show starting somehow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, pretty easy.
Maybe.
Let's see what I got. Welcome everybody to the Runeterrable radio show starring the Blevins, Jason Fleurant, and Saucy Mailman. We have one truly sexy Canadian show for you today.
It just goes in.
Can you guys hear that, or am I stroking out?
Hello, everyone.
It's a first.
It's a first. Welcome to Runeterrable Radio. Thank you for that awesome intro, Jason. You are our host today, and joining you is me, Blevins, and Saucy Mailman.
What's up? It's
welcome to the show, guys. Great to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Jason. I'm so excited. It's an honor. So yeah, Jason Fleurant.
Okay, we got to start it off. We got to ask the question, Saucy. Who does not know the name Fleurant?
Who does not know the name Fleurant? So yeah, if anyone doesn't know Jason, they're from their namesake is in the game from Who Does Not Know the Name Fleurant. That is actually
the Fleurant protege.
That is the Fleurant likeness right there.
That's right. They forgot the F. Floppy coding.
It's true.
You just need to, chat. Just put F's in the chat for the F that is gone in Fleurant protege. But
yep.
Yeah, Jason, thanks for coming on, bud. Really appreciate it. You've been doing a lot in the scene lately, and we'll certainly be talking about all of that cool stuff in a little bit here, and we'll get to know a little bit more about you. But of course, chat, and I know podcast listeners in chat, I know you hate this part. We got to go do a little bit of housekeeping, but I promise it's going to be great. We've got a couple of new patrons this week, so big patron week this week. We have Diego G at the $3 level. Thank you so much, Diego. And we have quite possibly the best name I've ever seen for anyone. Booty the Bear at the $5 level. Yeah, it's a pretty amazing name. So thank you both for joining the Patreon. You can head over, if you want to support us, you can head over to patreon.com/Runeterrable to join there. And yeah, we really appreciate that, and that definitely does help. And I've got a new segment that I've been working up. I've got a couple of folks I've been talking to on the sides here to get the webinars started, and that's what NAR with the GNAR. Get it? Because like the
yordle NAR,
like the yordle. Get it?
Yeah.
It's a clever joke. Chat laugh. We're gonna be doing a little informational videos over on the Patreon. So I got I've been in talks with maybe Mr. Fleurant here, doing something a little bit later. I got some other cool people in the competitive scene. We're gonna be doing informational stuff there. So if you have any ideas of like topics or anything that you would like to see covered, like I don't know, how to play Fiora Shen, or when should I hold deny, when should I pass, that sort of stuff. If you anything that you want to do to either get better at the game or just learn about concepts, or what's it like to go to play on a Magic Pro Tour, or something like anything like that you are interested in, that either myself or Saucy are not the best people in the world to do.
Which is like every question you could have.
Right, which is most questions. Unless it's how to, actually, no, I wouldn't. It's most things. We're going to be talking and working with people in the community to get that stuff done and put those up on Patreon. So let us know in the Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio.
Yeah.
Okay.
You did it. You did it.
Did it. We got through the housekeeping, and we are. I'm not dead, and it looks like there's at least 2 people left in chat. And if you're listening on the podcast, you're trapped because I have locked your phone. Yeah, you can try to pause it.
Work.
It's not going to work. No, it didn't work. But we of course have the beautiful and wonderful Jason Fleurant on the show. And so let's just start it off how we always start off. What's your gaming background, man? What brings you here?
Wow, yeah, that's a journey to unpack. You're in the way back machine. Back to high school. Ooh. I started playing Magic because some other kids were playing, thought it was cool. Started going to the local game store. Slowly got into it. Got hooked like everyone else does. And I remember very vividly, actually. I remember looking at like a Scry magazine.
Yes,
it was one of the magazines that was out back in the day. And there was an advertisement for the Pro Tour, and it was like, win $50,000 at the Pro Tour. And I was probably 15 at the time, and I remember like looking at some of the older kids who like knew how to play Magic and were just destroying me, stealing my lunch money every day, and being like, whoa, you guys, you're so good, you should like go do this. And I remember the exact response was like, oh, we couldn't compete with those guys. And I remember thinking like I could, and that like set me off on my like journey basically of starting at like regionals, and then like pre-release, a PTQ. Fast forward to like I was 17, took a Greyhound down to Portland, like we were just talking about earlier. We used to go down to Seattle and Portland for all their PTQs. Managed to win a PTQ for Pro Tour Osaka in Japan. It was pretty cool. I went to Japan when I was 17, like by myself, more or less. Back then, you didn't win like a trip or anything. You got like $500 US, which does not buy you a plane ticket to Japan.
Does not.
No. Does not. Was not, let alone a hotel or food or anything. But through like getting a job and like my family helping me out, like sent me to Japan basically. After that though, I got into poker. That was like when the poker boom happened. Soon thereafter, when I was like 18, 19, started playing poker. Always still kind of like came back to Magic, as everyone does, kind of just like in and out, managed when I was like 23, something like that. I top aided Grand Prix Vancouver, which was extended.
Nice.
Oh man, that was the best format. Screw modern. Screw what is it called? Pioneer. Those are trash.
Pioneer.
It's made up.
Modern was actually pretty cool for a while. Pioneer, that's trash. Historic, MTG, that's trash. Bring back old extended.
That's right. I'll learn and stuff. So I've qualified for the Pro Tour again. Went to Prague this time. Some pretty cool destinations I got to visit.
You qualified for all the cool Pro Tours.
Yeah, actually, no, I'm skipping over one. There was another one when I was younger. It was a team one though, so like it wasn't really on me. I'm gonna be real. My teammate Terry Sang, shout out Terry Sang, one of the best to ever do it. He, myself, and Mike Gurney were on a team for like Team Limited. We won a PTQ, went to Boston, and we were this close to top 4ing the Pro Tour. We had a 50-50 chance of being paired up against Kai Bude's team, and they were already a lock. So they're the Phoenix Foundation, and they were just scooping people in. Yeah. So literally a coin flip if we were going to top 4 this tournament. Wow. We got paired down, I think 2 rounds in a row. We got paired down, and we went loss to miss the top 4.
Dang,
that's rough. That was a heartbreaker. Yeah, can you imagine? Like just like a computer somewhere decided whether or not we made it. I was like, would have been a different trajectory.
Yeah,
but
yeah. Brutal.
Yeah, and that's how it goes, right? So I went to Boston. Let's see, I qualified for Pro Tour Hollywood somewhere along the way as well, which was was like block constructed with ferries.
Ooh, yeah.
A while back. And then fast forward to maybe a couple years ago, and I ended up winning Grand Prix Vancouver. Was limited, one of the Masters formats, which qualified me for Pro Tour London. So again, got to go to some really awesome places. The whole play the game, see the world thing has been pretty awesome. Met lots of great friends along the way. And then last year in March 2020, April 2020, I won. COVID hit, everything went online.
Yeah.
And Channel Fireball had a couple like online Grand Prix. And so they would have like 2 weekends of Grand Prix and then like a Grand Prix final that was like the super special invite Grand Prix. And so I ended up qualifying last second. It was like Friday night, the last qualifier. I think I finished at like midnight, and then I had to like start the Grand Prix like the next morning at like 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. or something.
Oh wow.
And ended up winning in like somewhat dramatic fashion, beating Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa in the semis, and then Gabriel Nassif in the finals.
Wow.
And so that kind of sucked me back into it.
Talk about an easy finals. I mean,
yeah,
come on,
seriously.
those guys are slouches.
Just coasted right through. And so COVID hit, and like I was working at a company that was doing live streaming for sporting events, which kind of went away. So my work went away, as did many people's, and then I won this Grand Prix, and I was kind of like, maybe I'll just try like streaming again and try to like make it, try to make it as a pro player. So that's kind of like my history with like competitive gaming and sort of how I don't know, got to where I am now, I guess.
That is awesome. I did not. I knew that you had some MTG accolades. I did not know that you went that far back. Yeah. But that's awesome. And so we were talking in the pre-show for everyone who wasn't here and the podcast listeners. And so you're from Vancouver, or you're in Vancouver now, right? Or you're from Vancouver, and which, for those of you who don't know, is the west coast of Canada. I am close to the east coast of Canada, so I just assume there's no chance that we know the same people, right? Because it's like very.
It's a
far
whole
away.
country away. Yeah.
I go, do you know so and so? He's like, oh yeah, we're great for. So it's like it's a small world. Funny how these things work.
The Magic world especially is like, it's kind of small. It's kind of tight-knit community.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's I mean, Blevins and I, we're always guilty about talking about Magic way too much on our Runeterra podcast, so it's always good.
We're not guilty.
Yeah, everyone else is guilty for caring.
Everyone, yeah.
So I mean, it's good to have another Magic guy on the show. But curious, so going from MTG, what brought you into Legends of Runeterra?
Yeah, so like everyone else, I saw the announcement when Runeterra first got announced. It was very interesting. Obviously Riot, very famous, League of Legends, very famous, and so them bringing out a card game was like a big deal. When it first came out, so like I said, I won the online Grand Prix kind of like in like April, which is around the same time it was in beta and kind of launching. And so I wanted to play, and I went and took a look at it, and I thought it was a little confusing. I was like, what is this with like the cards go sideways, and like there's there's like this weird turn system thing, and I was like, okay. I was still interested though, but one of the announcements I saw from Riot was like, we're not going to push esports. We're going to let the community kind of grassroots it up. And I was like, oh, okay. Like I'm here to like, at least pretend like I'm trying to cash paychecks and like, just hold the big sign and go against the best of the best. Like that's my thing. So there's like, we're gonna back burner esports. And I was like, Okay. I was also super busy, trying to make it as a Magic player, content creator, trying to launch that whole thing. I was like, man, I'm barely keeping up with Magic. Like, I don't know how I'm going to do both things. So I was kind of just like, I was keeping my eye on it constantly, waiting for basically the esports scene to get announced, to kind of dive in, because I'm a very competitive player. That's like why I like to play things. I just like to compete. I'll win or lose. Obviously I want to win like everyone else, but I love the whatever it is, the thrill of competition, of that practicing and trying my absolute best and knowing that someone else is trying their absolute best, and that thrill of competing. And so in, I think, November, Riot tweeted out that at the beginning of 2021, they were going to have like a path to pro, like esports was going to start launching. And that's when I was like, oh, it's happening now. Okay, like this is it. Same with Majin Bay and Kever. We all come from Magic. We all basically saw that same thing and got into it around the same time. Then ended up kind of teaming up kind of randomly.
So you mentioned Majin and Kever, and just for everyone listening's reference, you've got your podcast in your community, the Mastering Runeterra community, right? That's what the community is called, the podcast, right? Mastering Runeterra.
Mastering Runeterra, yeah.
Yeah. Which everyone should check out, because if you're looking to get better at the game and really optimize things and really get into the gameplay side, we are not the podcast.
Yeah.
For that.
This is not, it's not it, Chief.
This one's for fun. But you guys have a very good I mean, I'm in that Discord. I see you've got like your team calls, which have like a dozen people in it, and they're in there for hours, which is awesome. So definitely check out that, and I'll have all the links and whatnot. Jason, remember to put all your links and stuff in in our Discord thing, so I can put it in the show notes for everyone listening in podcast land. You can check that out. So talk to us a little bit about that. How did you meet Majin? Did you know each other from Magic? How did that whole thing start?
Yeah, ironically, we never actually kind of crossed paths in the Magic space. When I got into Runeterra, I had already had the same sort of thing going on. I had a podcast in Magic called the Planeswalker Diaries, and we had a Patreon team, same sort of setup. It actually came from when I got into Magic, and I was trying to be a competitive player. One of the big things that I kind of picked up on is that you kind of need a team. It's really difficult to do all of the testing and stuff on your own. You really need the help of others. And so I set out trying to find a team, and people were either at the pro level already, so they were, established, and they basically had other people that they worked with, and they, what is someone like myself or anyone else going to bring to them? They're already kind of at the top of the mountain. And then there were some other Patreon teams or smaller teams, and they were just kind of less, they weren't particularly good. They weren't super organized. The players weren't as competitive. And so I couldn't really find a team that I desperately needed to compete. So eventually after exhausting all my options, I was like, I'll just make my own, I guess, because there's got to be other people out there like me that are in the same boat. And so I basically tricked Seth Manfield and Danny T-Law into starting a podcast / Patreon with me so that I could start this team. Jokingly, I didn't really trick them, but kind of. They're like, what is it? It's a podcast? Okay, yeah, I don't know. Sounds fun. I like chatting. We'll chat.
That is how most podcasts start, ironically enough.
Yep.
What is it? Like a podcast? Yeah, that sounds okay.
I guess. Why not?
That's how almost every single person starts a podcast, is exactly like that.
Nice. Okay, I don't feel so bad then. And then it took off. Our community was fantastic. We did the same thing. We did the learning calls. It was great. It was everything, you know, I could have imagined. The players in there were great. One of them, DeNinja, ended up like top 8ing on one of the Pro Tours, or whatever you call them now. So like the team was very competitive.
We can be MTG boomers. We can do that.
Yeah.
It's a Pro Tour and it's a Grand Prix. I don't know what a Magic Fest is, and I don't want to know.
Yep, exactly.
Can't learn, don't want to. Yeah. So anyway, so when I came over to Runeterra, I was gonna do the same thing for sure, 100%, and I was keeping an eye out basically on who I could do it with. I was, you know, wanted to find like, you know, just kind of like the right mix. This is, as both of you know, it's not easy, as many people might know, like starting any sort of business type venture with anyone. It's the same as like dating practically. You're spending a lot of time with that person. You're gonna have to agree on things. It's tough. So I waited and waited, and there was, you know, I went through quite a few different potential people, and one day I happened upon many suitors making pros and cons lists. I happened upon Majin Bey's stream, and I was like, his stream is really good. I really like it, not just because he's my podcast / teammate,
he is a natural
partner.
Sure.
He just I don't watch a lot of Twitch. Like, I'm in and out of streams because I come say hi to everyone and stuff, but there's not a lot that are like really grabbing my attention. You know, I'm kind of like a little ADD. I want a lot of stuff going on. He's really good. He's very like, he's able to, it's difficult to, it's hard enough to play the game at a high level, but it's really difficult to hold a conversation with someone about whatever and then also play a game at a very high level, and he's able to do it just like almost effortlessly. And so I was like, this guy, I think this is my guy. We formed a team. I guess by we formed a team, I asked people that I thought were good at the game that I would get along with to come hang out with me and test for the last seasonals, which were Majin Bey, Kever, What Am I, Z Turtle, J Sensational. I don't know if I'm missing anyone. I hope not. I think that sounds
right. I've watched those I've watched you stream those calls many times. Yeah, it's you, Majin, What Am I, Jay, and Kever, and you guys have Push B on there sometimes too, right?
Push B. Yeah, so Push B, season 1, NA,
OG
seasonal
champ.
1 NA winner. The OG champ. He just unfortunately works now. His schedule has changed, so he hasn't made the last few calls. But they were all just kind of people that I like dropped into my chat and helped me to learn stuff. So I put the team together, and I mean, it's fantastic. It's surprising how well we kind of just have coalesced and worked together. Everyone's just super cool. The whole community, Runeterra community, is just awesome. And through working with Majin Bey and seeing like where he was at and what his goals were and how much he wanted to kind of walk the same path as me, I was like, dude, we gotta do this podcast thing. And luckily I asked him to do it like the week before he won seasonals. And I was like, yes, lock them in.
Stonks.
Nobody else can steal him.
Awesome.
That's how it began.
That is awesome. Well, I have a bunch of other questions, but I feel like you've kind of you've touched on a lot of them. Saucy, we do have the important questions.
Yeah, the important question, because everything else we can just throw out the window. None of that else.
No one really
nothing else
we
matters.
We haven't even been recording this.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna cut everything out. So if you're listening, you're gonna hear a really abrupt. This is where the podcast is starting.
Yeah.
And now the podcast has started. So important questions. This is the stuff I care about. If you were to pick 3 cards to be your favorite cards in Runeterra, what would you say your 3 favorite? They could be champions, spells, whatever. No matter what you want. 3 favorite cards.
Yeah, so it's tough to choose. You know, I feel like they're all my babies. But Sophie's choice. Sometimes you gotta make picks. So, okay, 3. I'm just going to go rattle them off the top of my head here. Let's see. I really like Lee Sin. I just love playing the Lee Sin decks. I love them. In that same vein, I kind of just like the goat. The old mountain goat. Just
Yep.
3-2 for 2 gives you a gem. Good little goat, just gets work done.
Back in my day, he was a 3-1.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad he's a 3-2 now. Does work. And then like my third card would have been pick a card. Like, but that was before it just kind of got totally broken. Like, do you remember like before TF Fizz though? Pick a card wasn't really a card that anyone played. Like, you didn't really see play. And I was like, oh, this card's cute. Like, I really like this. Like, every now and then you'd have a Twisted Fate in play. You draw another one. And you'd be like, oh, pick a card. This is really good.
Card,
I remember just thinking, like, why does anyone just, when I found out that you could play it outside of Twisted Fate, I was like, why don't people just play this? There must be some reason. And then, like, maybe like a month later, TF Fizz hit the scene and just took off.
Well, it's funny because Twisted Fate and Pick a Card obviously have been around since Twisted Fate came out. In the beginning of set 2, right? The beginning of set 2. Yeah, there wasn't. Yeah,
he's from
Bilgewater all came out at the same time. Yeah, and like it didn't see play for the longest time. And yes, Burblefish and that, you know, obviously pushed it over the top. But like the only deck that we ever saw it played in at all was actually Nola Gold's. Casino deck.
Yeah.
Casino. No one ever played it anywhere else, and it's like, oh, now everyone's like, oh, nerf pick a card. It's like no one played it before. But
yeah, coming from Magic, I was like, sorry, 3 mana draw 3 in a game that barely has card drawing like that. I was immediately like, is this card not insane? This card must be insane, no?
Yeah,
I'm not even sure if it is outside of Twisted Fate, but
well, it needs cheap enablers, right? It just needs cheap cards that you want to play, right? So Poro Cannon definitely helped. Rummage was always there. Burblefish kind of goes without saying that card's busted, but
yeah,
I mean, even beforehand, Burblefish, Twisted Fate, and Pick a Card all existed for a while and never got played. When Go Hard was the menace, no one played those cards.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, but okay, so you like maybe the concept of pick a card, but in its current form, in its current impression, in the
pick a card.
Maybe
no,
not so much.
I'm not backing away. I like it. Pick a card is number 3. I don't care what the other cards do.
Okay. How about least favorite cards? Cards that you despise, you either hate playing against, you hate the design of it, you hate the feel of it.
Okay. The one that really pops to mind for me is Vlad. I never beat Vlad decks. They're apparently not good, but I just always lose to them. I feel like I just never beat them ever. And I'm always like, and I've never played the deck or the card, and so I'm always like, okay, what does it do? What is it? Okay, it's gonna drain me. Okay, can I kill it now? No, still can't kill it. It just, I don't know. Freaking card. It's the bane of my existence.
It sometimes has regeneration. It sometimes I sometimes get drained. Okay, it's no, I hear that one.
As for other 2 cards, I don't know. There's not too many cards that I dislike. Yeah, I like the game a lot. So for there to even be one is like a little bit surprising. And I'm sure one of these days I'll play a Vlad deck and be like, yeah, now it's on the team. Now I like it.
True.
Well, Saucy, I know you've had some pretty interesting Vlad decks with some very interesting names before.
Yeah, my Demacia Vlad deck is known as Spank Me Vladdy, so that's a fan favorite.
It's just a great deck.
It's so fun. It's like worse Scargrounds.
It is. They fixed Vlad so that if you kill him while the ability's on the stack, he's not just completely
useless. Yeah, he is actually playable again. Yep.
Yeah, that Scargrounds deck has actually been like, it is a pretty solid tier 2 deck right now.
Yeah. That's what I was playing it a lot today. It's really good.
Yeah. People forget how good Transfusion is.
Yep. So unrelated to cards, this is really the only question that's actually important. What's your favorite Guardian in the game, Jason?
Ooh, so loaded question here.
Very much.
It was gonna be originally Baby Elephants are my like spirit animal. That's like I die a little bit inside from love, if that's possible. When I see a baby elephant, I just like I lose it. So when the baby elephant came out in Runeterra, I was like, that's it. This is the only one I'm ever using for the rest of time. And then this is back when TF Fizzfrix came out, and then she would trumpet like every time you like ballistic botted or anything. So she was basically just like trumpeting the whole time, and I was like, okay, no, I've had enough of that. No, we're just okay. So then I went to Cosmo, the dog, because it's basically like my dog Cooper, just big and barky and annoying and cute. And that was okay for a while. And then I also the new Shurima one, I don't know what it is, the cat looking thing with the tail that's like split again. Looked really cute, makes way too much noise.
A lot of noise.
It's the most annoying thing in the world.
Oh my god, so much. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
And so there's always been one that my opponents have had, and every time I see it, I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking cool. That is I gotta try that. And I got it for I made like a Smurf account, like a secondary account. And I have it on there, so I don't actually have it on my main account. And it's the dragon. The dragon I absolutely love when the game starts and it scorches across the map, and then like it'll shoot fire across. Like, ugh, not even close. Nothing else comes close.
Yep. Infernal Drake is the best.
Infernal Drake. Yeah, that one is great.
And
as long as you didn't say T-Hex, I'm happy.
Or Gromp, No,
Gromp is Nightshade. Gromp. The true
big
OGs
poopy.
know about
big
Nightshade
poopy.
Gromp.
Big poopy.
Nightshade Gromp is where it's at. Everyone knows. Type a 1 in chat if you love Nightshade Gromp.
Don't do it.
And
I will ban all blocking everyone in chat.
Okay, so we talked about the important stuff. Now let's talk about the controversial stuff. So we talked about this last week when it was a hot topic, but it's still.
Is it Majin Bey's OnlyFans?
No, that's universally agreed upon that it's amazing.
Yeah, that is. There's no
universally
controversial. Not controversial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Universally
not
loved.
controversial. Everyone just is voting for that.
Yeah.
But so we talked with Wonder Mellow last week about the whole Shuriman Desert is vast meme. We didn't get any update to TF we didn't get any update to anything. We got no balance patch whatsoever. Aphelios not touched, Twisted Fate, or Fizz, or pick a card, or Wiggly Burblefish, or I could probably just keep naming off cards that people in the community are asking to be changed. What are your thoughts on, I guess, the meta right now, some of the top decks that are happening right now, especially coming from Magic, where maybe an oppressive deck is more common than it is in Runeterra right now?
Oof, don't get me started. One of the reasons I made the switch over to Runeterra is because there were basically oppressive decks for a year or two in Magic. And so comparatively, in Magic, it's really hard to change things. You can't just buff and nerf. You have to ban things, and it's very difficult to do because you're tied to a paper game, and there's a whole market there. And so we'd have to wait maybe 2 months for something to change, maybe more. So having to wait 2 to 4 weeks, I'm like, maybe just get some tissues and come call me. So what I will say though is I think it's quite understandable that what happened is they recognized that the TF Fizz deck was a little too good, but they had Shurima, all these new cards coming out, and they were like, well, maybe that's going to shake things up, and then so we'll do all these buffs and nerfs maybe for nothing, and it'll kind of just screw with things unintentionally. So let's release all these cards, it'll stir the pot a whole bunch, and then we'll do it. And then that's not what happened. It was like, oh hey, the cards aren't quite on the same level, TF is still way too good, and then everyone got real upset about it.
Yeah, that is definitely what happened. And I mean, it's tough because there's so many potential factors that we just don't. You can't possibly know if it's necessarily because the cards inherently are insane, right? Because we've talked about this on the podcast before, and even I believe there's been some Riot devs who have addressed this sort of phenomena where, like, if Swim and Mogwai and BBG are playing X deck, way more people are going to be playing that deck on ladder than you may expect based on like win rates, right? So like Swim comes out with the stupid Zed Fiora like all-in deck, which by the way, I'm pretty sure is actually trash. I've never gotten close to losing to that deck. No, that's probably not true, but like that deck probably has way more play rate than it normally would, given like a world where there were no streamers, right? So part of it is that, and part of it also goes to another thing we've talked about on the podcast, where compared to MTG, all the LOR inherent people that you kids don't know how good you have it. Like, I feel like there's so much of that. But one thing, and I'm curious what both of you think about this, because I've been thinking a lot. Because, and I'll let it out now. People maybe who have seen me on ladder this week have seen me playing Twisted Fate Fizz. A, because I'm a degenerate and I just want to hit master. But B, playing Twisted Fate Fizz against a lot of these like different mid-range decks, like that Fiora Zed deck, the Vlad decks, all that stuff. Twisted Fate Fizz really feels like it is that like next echelon. It feels like you're playing a different game in a lot of ways. When you have pick a card, when you have the combo, right? Pick a card into Twisted Fate, pass turn, rummage, flip Twisted Fate. It doesn't feel like you're playing the same game as your opponent who just tapped out to play a 3/3. Right? Like, for 4 mana. That's like not but that like gap in decks is something that we haven't really seen in Runeterra almost at all. Because even when like some of the best decks, like Bannerman, for instance, like that is has been an S tier deck in the past, or Scouts, right? But that's just like it's curving out and it's doing really good things. It doesn't feel like you're playing a different game like you are with Twisted Fate Fizz. But in Magic, that happens all the time. We wouldn't like the derpy play a 4 mana 3/3 draw card. That just never gets played in Magic, and there's been so many years of conditioning to not even think that it's playable. All these like derpy mid-range do nothing decks, they never exist because there's going to be a pretty high bar to even be playable in standard in Magic, because it's like, okay, if you can't beat the goldfish turn 5 kill of mono red, like you can't even build your deck. So I don't know. Does this make any sense? Am I speaking nonsense, or what do you think, Saucy?
So it's actually I was talking about that on, I don't remember if it was yesterday, but it's kind of the same thing as like we've had a lot of strong decks in this game, but the disparity between TF Fizz and everything else is so wide. It does remind me of like back when Abzan Siege Rhino was a thing in MTG, and it was like you're either playing Abzan or you're losing, and that's exactly how it feels right now. It's we just haven't had this in the game yet. Usually there's like 5-6 tier 1 decks, like 15 tier 2 decks. Right now there's like an S tier deck. There's like 3 tier 1 decks, and then everything else is below that. And it's like, I don't know. It does feel this is the first time, and coming from Magic, it doesn't affect me as much. Like it doesn't bother me, that we have so few tier 1 decks. But in Runeterra, I'm used to being able to queue up and at least see different matchups. Even today, I think we only saw 2 decks in my 7-hour stream. We saw Felios TF and TF Fizz. That's all I saw in Diamond. And so it was just like, well, I'm kind of bored of ladder right now. I played some labs until we started the podcast, so I'm just not used to it in Runeterra. But in Magic, it's the same thing. Like you go and play in a Star City Games tournament or a GP, you're playing and building your decks around 3 decks. Like that's just how it works. You're playing. There's going to be the aggressive red deck, the best deck, and then there's someone like me forcing blue-white control. What about you, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah, so my take on it is one of the things and I think a lot of people like about Runeterra is the fact that it is only digital and it is capable of just having nerfs and buffs sort of whenever. I think the reality of the situation is that, well, one, something's always going to be the best. Something's always going to be at the top. Something's always going to be a little bit better. And it's going to be real hard to, like, trying to make everything exactly balanced. Like, that's really, really tough. And I don't think that's what you should try and strive for. Instead, I think what you should do is realize that it's always going to get, like, solved. There's so many of us out there playing all day, 24 hours, right? So instead, what you do is you take all the cards and you nerf the stuff that's too good and you buff the stuff that's not seeing any play. You just shake it all up and then you go, here, figure that out, and we all get to go, oh my god, magical Christmas land. Like it's like new cards, basically. It's like a new set. And then we get to figure that out and then play in a big tournament, and then once whatever a month or 2 months has gone by, you just shake it up again, throw it back out again. And they just didn't really do that this time, whereas they have in the past, which I think is kind of what surprised everyone. And I can't really figure out. I'm not sure why. I don't know if they were just relying on these new cards coming out too much, just assuming that would be the big shakeup, and it wasn't. It's the only thing I can really guess.
Yeah, and it definitely, if you were to ask me, would adding, I don't know how many cards are in Empires of
like 120-ish, I think.
If adding, do you think adding 120 new cards, including a new color, would change the meta of current Magic standard? I would probably, you're probably favored if you say yes, right? Like you, at the very least, is probably favored. And I think there's a lot of compounding things, the stuff we've talked about, the fact that the way the set is released, where like we only have we have more than a third, but actually only like I don't know, like under half of Shurima. We have under half of one set of Shurima. Doesn't make it necessarily feel good. We don't know what the full power of Shurima can be with a full expansion, so that doesn't help. So I think there's some of that. And one other thing, and this is getting a little bit on the MTG side, but we've already gone down this road. But another key difference that I found between LOR and MTG that I don't think a lot of people talk about, because the conversation we've been having, I think, has been floating around, and a lot of us that come from Magic agree on it. But one thing that I have not seen people talk about is the fact that in Magic, you as a player and a competitive player, granted, if you're casual, whatever, but as a competitive player, you pretty much always want to and are heavily incentivized to play the best deck, regardless of what it is. Now, if you have a network of people and you can change your deck all the time, that's one thing. But for the most part, if I pay $500 for a deck, I hope that deck is tier 1. And I'm going to be playing that deck a lot because I paid $500 for it. So I hope it's good, and I'm going to continue playing it, and I'm going to master it. TF is, you got that answered, but also, like, I can most of us that are in competitive or have played for really any significant amount of time have all the cards and can make any deck we want. So, like, even though TF is the best deck, you get bored of playing it.
Yeah.
And you can switch very easily.
Yep.
But like in Magic, it's like, unless you are the 0.001% or have a really good group and network, you can't change your deck over and over again unless you've just got a lot of money. So,
yeah,
ironic.
Totally.
You think that would solve problems, but it doesn't.
Yeah, because one of the other things that's changed now is the seasonals have changed, so that the ladder is a lot more important than it used to be. And so you're going to have people, taking it a lot more seriously. There used to be a time, previously the top players would race to the top of the ladder for fun, and then would just kind of play whatever.
And then screw around.
It didn't matter as long as you were top 700, you qualified. There was a little bit of seeding to take into account. It wasn't as important as it is now, where if you're a higher rank, you can almost have like an extra buy practically in seasonal. So that's a huge difference. And if you know anything about incentivizing gamers are going to game. If there's a system to be gamed, they're going to work at it, and this is a very important one in the competitive scene. So for sure, you're going to see people like tryharding a lot more, playing things like Aphelios and TF Fizz. So I think it's kind of compounded that. Whereas if that wasn't the case, if it was still the old system, we'd probably see a lot more memes, tier 2 fun decks on the ladder than we currently do.
Yep, absolutely. But I don't know. That's just some thoughts on that. Chat and podcast folks, let us know either in the comment section or in the Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. What do you think about all this? Let us know, because I'm interested. I'm interested what, if you're a competitive player, I'm very interested in that. But also if you're just like a player that's just playing for fun or plays normals or just plays casually or, plays ranked, but isn't like try hard grinding for top 700. I'm curious what everyone thinks, because everyone is a part of this equation for LOR. So let us know, and maybe we'll talk about some of the responses on the next episode. So speaking of questions in Discord, we do have a number of Discord questions that we're going to get to. But before we get to that, Jason, I know you and Majin are running a tournament the week before the seasonals. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that event.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So it's going to be, like you said, a weekend before. It's going to be $1,000 prize pool that we're putting up ourselves. We have a bunch of great people that are, taking part, helping us run it, plus the Blevins. And so basically it's everything that I want to see sort of in a tournament. It's going to be the same format as seasonals the weekend before. There's no better preparation for a tournament than tournament experience itself. It's got a decently sized prize pool compared to some of the other tournaments, which we want to just keep increasing. Hopefully it's successful enough that kind of just keep building it up. I remember reading that maybe one of the largest community-based tournaments was like a $2,000 prize pool. I was like, oh, we're gonna try and get that record from them. I want to go 2,500, 5,000 if we can one day. Yeah. And yeah, I'm just kind of just giving back to the community. That's just absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough great things about the Runeterra community. I came over, streamed day one. Nick Makes Plays and Z-Turtle came and dropped into my stream, and were like helping me learn the game, and like everyone's just been welcoming with open arms. And so this is kind of like our way of trying to give back to the community and try and just help it grow.
It's awesome. Yeah, really happy to help out how we can, and gonna be super exciting. So we'll get the details for that as well in the description, and we'll post it in the Discord too. We've got our post a tournament channel, so we'll get the details and whatnot in that channel in the Discord. Again, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. We'll get that there. So, Saucy, we've got some listener questions.
We have a lot.
Jump on in. We did. We got a lot, and if you're listening in chat, you want to get your questions in, throw them in. I don't know. We've got a ton, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get through to all of them, but you got some questions, get them in.
This is an interesting one we got from chat not too long ago, and I thought it was a cool question. So Onion900 asks, now that focus speed is in the game, are there any spells you want to see change to focus?
That's a great question.
It is a great question. I was like, whoa. Atrocity, probably. Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Wait, well, actually, though.
You think Atrocity needs a buff?
Well, is that a buff?
Maybe.
I guess. Well, yeah, I guess.
You can't respond to it at the start of your turn.
That's true. Okay, wait. Never mind.
Focus speed is weird. It's an interesting one.
That's right, because it wouldn't. Yeah. Yeah, Atrocity would be an awful
sometimes idea. It's an advantage, but sometimes it's a disadvantage.
Yeah. I want Unyielding Spirit to be focus speed. I'm just gonna say it.
Ooh.
I want Lamb's Respite.
No.
Lamb's Respite needs to be focus speed.
That one I'm in on. I'm in on Lamb's Respite being that's the make
2
your
mana?
smallest unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that one focus speed. I'm 100% in on that one.
Poro Cannon?
Yeah, what's the deal with that card?
With which card?
Like what were they thinking there? Like what was the
Lamb's
with
Respite?
Lamb's Respite? Like what's the use case supposed to be?
Oh,
there?
Yeah.
have
I
you
remember just
seen-
reading this and being like, it seems like you could do stuff, but like what?
Well, have you seen the teal red Nightfall deck with that? With Lamb's Respite in it?
I've not.
Okay, so
What
here's
does it do?
here's the deck. It's actually sick. And teal red, if you if y'all listening are not familiar with teal red, he is, I believe, in the SEA region and is a like a fantastic deck brewer. He comes up with some of the coolest decks ever. If you watch Fight Night at all, you will constantly hear myself and Casanova speak the praises of teal red. So the concept of this deck is it's kind of like a Nightfall shell, but it runs Lamb's Respite and not Go Get It. What's the Give It
Out
All.
of the Way.
Out of the Way, is that what it's called?
Out of the Way
The-
is the
the
Targon
Targon
one.
one.
Yeah.
The Targon one, out of the way. So Lamb's Respite is permanent. So it basically makes it unyield. It turns oh, sorry, Asia region, not SEA. Yes. Chat corrected me there. Sorry. Yeah, so it makes Lamb's Respite permanent essentially, but you get to play Targon and Shadow Isles. So he was running that with the 3-mana 5/5 ephemeral lifesteal, the squid, and it's pretty insane. And Mask Mother too, which is pretty sick actually.
You can also run
Okay,
the
yeah.
you can run the 2 mana Shadow Isle spells that gives Lifesteal and Fearsome as well, burst speed. Because it also gives Ephemeral, which doesn't matter with Lamb's Respite.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was
is one
the-
I forgot existed.
Yeah, I made it was a Taric Kindred version of that deck I made, and I put it up on YouTube today. And it was really cool. Like you gotta make your Kindred can't die and also have Lifesteal and Fearsome, and it's just cool shenanigans. It's really cool. Lamb's Respite, focus speed. What about you guys?
Yeah.
What do you guys want to see? That's my vote. What do you guys want to see focus speed? Jason, what do you think?
I don't know. It's tough because it's like we're talking about. It's like in some cases it's better, in some cases it's worse. It'd be I'd have to think about it. I got nothing off the top of my head. It's a good question. It's a
Okay.
really good question.
That is a really good question. There was what was I playing today where I had 2 spells in hand and they were both slow, and I wanted one of them to. If either of them were fast or burst, it would have been great. God, I think I was playing Expedition. 'Cause I'm grinding those sweet gems for prismatics.
Yeah.
God, what was I playing? I don't remember, but there's so many there's so many spells that I feel like they can take a little bit of liberties with focus speed. Like you can like try something out at focus speed and then maybe nerf it. Though they have mentioned that they generally don't like to change the speed of spells as a way to balance. For
Unless it's
whatever-
Glimpse.
Right. Oh, God.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, Glimpse and you know what
Unyielding
it was? You know what it was that I wanted it to be focus speed, but it definitely shouldn't be. Golden Aegis.
Oh God.
Card's already pretty damn good.
That card is insane.
Card is just getting more and more recognized. Yeah.
Yeah, that card's actually really good.
Yeah, Splinter Soul, sure. Yeah, why not?
How about Splinter Twin? How about focus speed Splinter Twin? Anybody?
I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah. No, that is a really great question.
It's a cool
Thanks for that
question.
one.
It's one I'm gonna have to. I haven't even thought about that. It's one I'm gonna have to.
I've never
stew
once thought
on.
about it. It's great. Okay, here's one that came from Discord. This one's from a person who wished to remain anonymous, and I believe it was specifically for you, Jason.
Oh boy.
And for the record, this will sound like a joke, but it is not from me. This question is not from me. Just putting it out there. They asked, who are your top 3 LOR casters? It actually is not from me.
From someone whose name rhymes with Shevevens. Let's see. Top 3. Shevevens. Top 3 casters. Let's see. Well, I mean, I brought.
Let's just say, how about top 3 non-Blevins
Boulevard.
casters, so it's not awkward.
Yeah, to make it fair.
Okay, sure. So so Boulevard, I think does a great job.
Great pick, classic.
You know, it's tough to choose. Everyone does a really good job. I liked you and Boulevard specifically because of your guys' sense of humor. I thought you did a good job of keeping things light. Casanova's great. You know, I feel bad
Another class
throwing out any names because literally I'm just running through the Rolodex of everyone I've watched, and everyone's good. Everyone does a really good job. There are
a lot of really good ones.
So it's hard to pick favorites. I frankly think everyone's fantastic. And it was tough to choose who else would come and cast our tournament with Bay and I. It was really, really tough. Eventually though, we wanted to just be kind of fun, and you guys cracked me up, so I was like, these 2, get them.
You love to see it. Yeah, no, but seriously, that question was not for me.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. Are there any non-meme questions? Let's see. Let's see. Okay. This one kind of goes with what we've been talking about. This one's from Night Striker, and they say, what changes would you propose to see for either Aphelios or TF? If you have maybe an easy change that you would like to see with them. I'll start with you, Jason.
Sure. I think with TF, I'd be interested in seeing the 8 cards drawn turn to 9 cards drawn. I feel like there's been a lot of things thrown around. I've thought about a lot of different stuff. I feel like 9 is interesting because it makes it a lot harder to do the immediate pick a card flip. That 1 extra card makes a pretty big difference. I'd start there. I'd be like, put it to 9, see what happens, reevaluate. I think that's pretty good. There's other talk of things like changing pick a card to 4 mana. Then I feel like anytime you print more card draw, you just kind of run into the same issue. Maybe again with Twisted Fate. Right. His cards are all good. I kind of like where they're all at. And then for Aphelios, that's an interesting one because Aphelios just got nerfed. Right. And I really like that nerf. I found that Aphelios is a lot easier to deal with at 2 toughness. Yeah, right. Like I'm finding I'm killing Aphelioses and mine are dying much more often. I think what they should do is look at Temple and some of the other Targon cards first before nerfing Aphelios some more, because I think he's still very good, but I don't know if he's overpowered, because something has to be good. So I'm fine with him being good. Getting Box-to-Puss is pretty good. That might be a little bit too much. Yep. So
Box-to-Puss is strong.
If it's good. Yeah, something in that combo there perhaps would be what I'd probably look at. But first I'd start with Temple, I think. And just Targon in general, a lot of people have said, the cards are just really powerful. They're so powerful. So I'd trim around him first.
I'd say star shaping. Touch star shaping in some way, please.
Yeah.
It's just the most annoying card.
Yeah. It's good. Yeah, I think Box-to-Puss or Temple are probably the issues. So what they should do, for the Aphelios fix, just move him to Ionia. So take him out of Targon.
There you go.
That's my Aphelios fix.
Solved.
Yep.
Solved.
Done.
Yep. And Twisted Fate, make him 11 mana. That would make him a lot worse. That would make him a lot worse.
True.
Only a little bit worse, I think.
You could cast him if you get the Targon card that you could reduce something's cost.
Silver.
Yeah, if you do that, you can cast him. Otherwise, 11 mana.
You matron him into play. You make a copy for
True.
1 turn.
Yeah, you got to sneak him in. We got to get the show and tells in here. So
yeah, you matron him in, and then you use Lamb's Respite with. Okay, no, we're going too deep here. So I actually have a no kappa. What I consider an interesting way to. It would definitely be a nerf. It would be a pretty massive nerf to Twisted Fate, and it would change him a lot. But I think it would keep him thematically on brand with how the champion feels. Keep everything the same. Keep his level up condition the same. Keep all the cards are the same. But instead, he keeps cycling in the same order: blue, red, yellow, or gold. Blue, red, gold. And instead, make it so there's no limit to the number of cards that can happen in a turn. But the cards don't. You don't get a card from casting a spell. You get a card from drawing a card from your deck. So you can instead of like casting your Poro and getting a blue card, you're casting your Poro with a leveled up Twisted Fate. Does nothing now. But if you rummage, you get 2 cards. So maybe, now that I'm thinking about it, that might be even more busted. So maybe you do keep the limit on it. If you kept the limit of only 3 cards per turn, I think he's very much nerfed. And maybe he's in check. I don't know.
It's a cool idea.
That would make him a lot worse.
It would definitely make him
a
lot
lot
worse.
worse.
He would be a lot worse.
What do you
interesting.
think of this? What do you think of? What do you think of blue card? Doesn't draw you a card, but you get 2 spell mana.
It's cool.
It changes him. It makes him worse, but it keeps him versatile.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, because like you're blue carding like some ridiculous percentage of the time, right? Blue card's like
if you
doing
are given
a lot
the
of heavy
choice,
lifting.
you blue card every time, right?
That's in chat. Ale Blackie Car says, "What if they had it to where TF only leveled at the end of turn, similar to Aurelion Soul?"
Oh, that's an interesting one.
So you couldn't just sneak him in, level him the turn you play him instantly, and then win the game.
I like that.
Yeah, that's really hot. That's
like that
hot.
a lot, actually.
There's a lot of interesting ways to change Aurelion, not to change Aurelion, to change Twisted Fate.
What if we put him in Ionia also?
Then Ionia all of a sudden is broken.
Oh, true.
You get to play TF. You get to play TF Lee, and then you can also still play Targon. That actually sounds busted. No, that's a. Actually, I'd play that deck. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's a good one. That's cool.
Okay.
We have time
Saucy,
for
I have no
more.
idea where we're at on time, but
I think we have time for like 1, maybe 2.
Okay. Saucy, are there any that you see that are interesting? That you want to...
There's a lot of obviously joke questions in here. We've talked about.
I got one for you guys.
Yeah, please do.
What do you think, if anything, is going to happen next month at the anniversary? Because you could see it there in the calendar. Anniversary's coming April 14th.
Ooh.
Are they going to be announcing Worlds? Are they going to do some sort of celebration? What? Because I don't know that much about League and Riot. I hear that the anniversaries are a big deal. They do a good job with these tentpole sort of events. What do you guys expect to see, or what would you like to see? I want Worlds for sure.
Saucy, can you
I'm going to refrain from answering this question.
Okay, so Saucy will
saucy,
recuse himself. I actually don't have any insight to that, so I'm going to speculate. So what I would like to see, what I would like to see is, yes, Worlds would be sweet. That'd be a cool thing. Obviously, everyone in the competitive community is wanting that. 1 year anniversary. Okay, so what I want to see, I want something exclusive, limited time, and cool. And I want it to be all of those. I want it to be all three of those things. I want it to be either like a guardian or a card back. Maybe a board, probably not a board. A board would feel bad. A board feels too big, and if it's exclusive, people are going to feel bad not seeing it and not being able to get it. So I want it to be something cool, but not big like a board. So I think a card back or a guardian would be sweet, like a 1-year guardian that you've got. You can give it a lot of time. Maybe give it a month or 2 months or however long to claim it. Kind of like the Pride Poro, where it was like it was free if you logged in between. There was a pretty big gap of time.
Yeah,
that you could get it. You get it for free. You have it forever, but you can't get it again. Maybe they'll do it again. Maybe they'll do the Pride Poro at the same time of the year every year. I don't know, but I want to see something like that. Like give me a guardian. Maybe it's just a different color Poro. Maybe it's a golden Poro or a red Poro or something. Give me something like that. That's
interesting take. Yeah, because I don't have the Pride Poro, and there's some other stuff like pets that you can't get anymore. Right. And I see them, and I'm like, how do I get that? They're like, oh, you can't. Right. I'm like, oh, darn it. But I'm not upset about it. I'm just like, the next time something cool rolls around, I'm getting it. Like, you better believe I'm not missing out. And so, like, when we got the card back for seasonals, it wasn't my favorite card back, but I was hoping that maybe they would keep it just for seasonal number 1, and those nuts that went like 3 and 2 or better would have that cute little like keepsake, and maybe they would just change it every time, and that's fine, right? I wouldn't be like, oh, I missed out on that thing, because there's more cool stuff happening all the time. But then they kept it for seasonal 2, and I was like, oh, now it's just kind of less special.
Hey,
so it's an interesting take.
Be happy got that, man, because I'm upset because I can't get it. I want it. I want those.
Season number 3
backs.
Is coming up.
I can't. I literally can't play in the seasonals. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
What a loser.
Working for a partner of Riot means that I'm literally disqualified from being able to play. So sad. But yeah, no, I like stuff like that. My stuff isn't cool unless other people can't have it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it better.
Exactly.
Okay, Saucy. One more question. Is there one that sticks out to you?
I mean, we talked about a lot of this already.
We did.
That one's not even like a real thing. Okay, this is interesting. Okay. T Moshi asks, what decks do you hope to play after the impending TF Fizz Aphelios nerfs, assuming for this question that those decks become tier 2 or so? So are there any decks that you want to play, but they're just not quite good enough to actually win games?
I want to play Karma decks. I really like Karma.
Okay.
Karma's probably should have been up there, one of my favorite cards. I just, old school Magic control player. I want my blue-white millstone just do nothing for forever, and then kill you in an avalanche of stuff eventually. And you just can't do it. You just can't do it right now. Not quite good enough. So I'd love to give Karma another go.
That is an interesting one. What was I playing that was weird before? There's some weird, wacky combo decks that actually, I know Swim was playing a deck that actually used Lamb's Respite on kegs and would like go infinite, where like you like stack up a bunch of kegs, you use Lamb's Respite so that it won't die that turn, and then you use like 3 warning shots and deal like 20 in one turn. I'd love something like that to work, where it's just like this wacky combo, and I don't. It doesn't need to. In fact, I hope it's not tier 1, because if a deck that is tier 1, it's kind of yikes. Let me at least be able to play it as a tier 2 deck, and I'll be happy. How about you, Saucy?
I think more Teemo Timeline's Trundle deck. That deck is so fun. I mean, and I think it's realistically like maybe a low tier 2 deck. It's actually decent. But if that deck was good, it'd be awesome, because I mean, it's got Teemo and Timelines and Trundle. What else do you want? It's great.
Ooh, it's something with LeBlanc. Give me LeBlanc. I want LeBlanc to be a playable card.
I found a really cool LeBlanc Jarvan Battering Ram deck today.
Interesting.
It is. I was looking through the Masters leaderboard today, and this is when we made fun of. We were also going through my friends list, making fun of Blevins for a long time for his TFIz. But yeah, he's it's like rank 6 right now in U.S. Master, and it's Jarvan, LeBlanc, and it has 1 Katarina battering ram. That deck is cool. That deck is cool.
That's Manasia. He's trolling.
Dude, it's fun as shit though. That deck, like I'm saying, this is a deck I want to be fire. Dude, I had a blast with it. We played it a bunch. Super fun. LeBlanc is she's very interesting. She's very interesting.
Love it. But Saucy, Jason, that's going to be it for this episode.
Yeah.
Jason, our wonderful guest, thank you so much for being on. Really appreciate it. We had a blast. The floor is now yours. Sell out, shout out, do what you will. The people want to hear. Where can they find you? All that good stuff.
Sure. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was really an honor. I forgot to mention, actually, I mentioned this before in other venues, but Saucy's stream was actually the first Runeterra stream I've ever watched. It was like, hey, new player, how do I learn this game? And he's like, yo, I got you. I got these YouTube videos. Come check it out. Everything he needs there. And that's come full circle. So it's been great being here. I stream every single day because I'm currently on a 365-day Runeterra stream challenge. I don't know why I started that, but I'm about 1/3 of the way. I'm like 120-ish days in every single day at like 7 p.m. Pacific. Twitch.tv/Jason Fleurant, all that good stuff. I also make some YouTube videos, also Jason Fleurant on YouTube. Just getting that up and going. Of course, the podcast, Mastering Runeterra with Jay and Bay. It's very competitive focused. You can find it on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes, Mastering Runeterra. And then from there, you can check out our Patreon, which I just love. Our Patreon's great. The Discord's awesome. The community's great. It's free to join the Discord. So hop on over. We're going to be holding that tournament next month for all of our patrons. The lowest tier is $2. So if you just want to support us and join the tournament, it's $2. All the way up to we have a $100 tier that gets you, like 4 one-on-one coaching sessions with Bay or myself, and then just a whole bunch in between. You can check that over at Patreon, Mastering Runeterra as well.
Love it. Love it. Thank you again, Jason, for coming on. Really appreciate it. Saucy, where can people find you when you're not here on the podcast?
If you want to find me, my website's just saucy.live. You can find all of my stuff there. Everything about what I do is on the thing.
Love it. One consolidated place. Well, if you want to find me on the internet, you can find me at _Blevins. On Twitter, you can find me most, if not every Friday, casting Fight Night over at twitch.tv/GiantSlayerLOR. If you want to find the podcast, you can go to Twitter at Runeterrable. Of course, you can go to patreon.com/Runeterrable Radio to support us and get access to all of that awesome stuff. You can also, of course, the best place is discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. But that is going to be it for this episode. Thank you, everyone, for listening in podcast world. Thank you for the chat for showing up. But for Jason Fleurant, for Saucy Mailman, I'm the Blevins, and we'll be back next week. Talk about some more Legends of Runeterra.
Thanks, guys.